Hi everybody, I'm Dragonmud and this is my channel. Yay! Um, Hilariously, I told Twitch that I actually was a chat channel and it still has me as streaming. Or not streaming, it's all streaming. Ha! See, there I go, fumbling over words again. And I told it I was a chat channel instead of an art channel and it still has me listed as an art channel. Ah, whatever. um, yeah, no, this is mostly chat. Chat about art, yes, but I don't have many plans to show off art as I'm doing it today, this week. So this week it's chat. Maybe next week it will be more art. I have to get past the sketch phase for a lot of things. Which I tend to do just wherever I am. I'm like in my car waiting for things, or waiting on my kid, waiting on. Yeah. Hopefully, I won't be waiting that long when I go out tomorrow. We're house hunting, and we get to look at 2 houses tomorrow. Fingers crossed, they're not crazy or dilapidated or, death trap when we walk in, which I have had happen to me before, and that's scary. Like, totally checked out a place once where the roof fell in. And, oh boy. Oh boy. Alright. Now, I would much like to live in a barn like this, but I don't. I only have the virtual barn. So, which I updated the listing. The Twitch listing or page has how to get to all these now. So it's a Sagan Works, and if you go click on the link on the Twitch page, it will take you straight to how to get in and run around these things. Not with me, because it's all a very individual, private experience, but it will let you get into work or, see what I'm showing you here in your own interactive way. I really hope that this isn't lagging as much as I think it might be. So, because this week I decided to give it a try with the computer or PC version of Sagan Works instead of the phone version, because I want to be able to show you guys these things in my news and stuff. I did a book cover and it's really something I'm proud of. It's so pretty. Yay. But yeah, the book cover was approved. The book is in process of being published, and all goes well, this should be coming out here in May. Yeah, it's lagging. Oh boy. Yep. So, Too Late to Pray by T.W. Lofgren. That I know will be on Amazon, like, immediately. He's going through the Ingram network, so that should appear anywhere you can get books. So if you guys are interested in this story about a cat that appears out of a tornado, or, well, kind of, you can pick it up then. Something else that I recently finished is over here. This is not quite public, but it's on, like, if you're on my Patreon, it says unknown. If you're on my Patreon, this is last month's image. I am not going to show off this month's image live on air. Only Patreon members get to see those. as they are new. And that's patreon.com/dragonmun. Okay, and there we go. Now we have the text chat. Ha! Okay. Sorry, I turned it off because I was distracting myself with the empty black box. But, yep. So, this one was fun for patrons. They actually got to vote on what image I did. And, wow, it's super huge. Okay. Bonus. And I did like 5 different sketches for the different scenes in the book there for that particular chapter, and everyone voted on this one, which hilariously is not the one I thought that they would. But I'm really happy about it because I got to play with those magic effects. Hey, and I love that you love it too, April. Let's see. So I hope you don't mind, April. One of the things I said I wanted to talk about this week was dragons, and we'll be going and checking those out here now. But I didn't get us... Why is it not opening? There it goes. Okay. I didn't get a Sagan completely together for you, but I did, over here, get a nice little area, which we'll, I'll get to in a moment. But, yeah. What? Dragons! So, these guys are topical, all the time. I don't care what anyone says. Who cares if it's not August, so thus Smogust, even though I made a lot of these images for Smogust. I just love drawing dragons. Most of them never get past this really weird scribble stage, but that's okay. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. Show you... I am stuck on the wall again. Oh, God. I love Sagan Works because it lets me have giant wall murals. Whereas these things are actually rather small in real life. Anyway, so this was, out of all of these, this one here was the first dragon that I did. It was kind of a fan art, actually. I was reading Outlaws of Kamigawa, which I probably just completely butchered that name. But it's a Magic the Gathering setting that I really got involved with the novels of. They are super cool, and I found cards for it and kind of ended up not liking them so much. So that's interesting. But yeah, I was in the middle of reading, I think, the first book in the series over at my friend Sarah's house. And she was cleaning, you know, just kind of a boring, chill hangout day. And at one point while she was cleaning, she started handing me all these markers and pens and things that she found as she was organizing various surfaces. And she kept telling me to test them. And so I wound up having to put the book down because she was handing them to me at such a frequency that I just couldn't pay attention to the book, but my mind was still all about it. So instead of just doing the normal check and see if it works on a piece of, you know, scrap paper, I pulled up a sketchbook page and just kind of started using them all to draw and color this picture, which here's Sagan Works makes it kind of dark. Let's see if I can open it full screen. There we go. Much more vibrant. So you can see, like, I tested many different blue pens here for the scales, and, you know, black pen there. This actually pixelated pretty bad, but I got all this opalescent effects just from random stuff. Even the white here is pen. It was a whiteout pen, and I stuck it to my thumb and just kind of smeared it across. So yeah, that turned out cool. And it turned out to be the first of these elemental dragons that I did. Many, many, many years later, I decided to do this one. And I had given it another name off of the Kamigawa books. And I, for the life of me, can't remember what it is. Yay. Yeah, the whiteout technique I used here too. This, again, was whiteout, but this time from a paint bottle, smudged on my thumb. And then because of the Sharpie, it sort of mixed. So yeah, I'll open this one up too. Oh, Kagasuichi. That's what I ended up naming it. Yes, always allow them. Okay, that's funny. Never did that before. Okay, so here we go. And it opened it up in app. I don't understand this app. It's like it changes on me all the time. So, does this let me open it? There we go. Okay, so you guys can see I did the, scales with a pen. No big deal. But all the stippling, so much stippling. Many, many, many little dots to get the scales and effects and stuff. Here, oh gosh, you can actually see my thumbprint. That's hilarious. Yep. So I guess if you buy art from me, you get a little piece of me, even though I didn't intend it. Ha. So, yeah, that was... How do I get out of here? Yeah, definitely signing my work. So I definitely used a different coloring technique between these two. I'll get back there in a moment. But wanted to go to the next one. Sequentially, it was this piece. This was the next one that I did. The Earth Dragon. And at this point, I stopped caring about naming them. As of yet, she has no name. So if you guys want to name her, go ahead and just drop it in the chat. And there we go. I will attempt to open this one in a second browser. There we go. Okay. So again, you can see the stippling and stuff. And again, this one, actually, I didn't have the whiteout this time. And the background wasn't even my, I didn't have any paints, but I did have a block of Chinese ink. And so what I did, it was green ink, like this weird kind of muted green. So I took water from my water bottle and scraped what did I scrape it into? I think it was just a container from when I had lunch, and I scraped the ink into that and mixed it with graphite from one of my mechanical pencils and a little bit of water, and was able to get this on my thumb. So again, thumb painting technique, but this time using the Chinese watercolors instead. And then I had my markers. I have a whole folder thing full of different colored Sharpies, and I had that with me, so I was able to color the leaves just kind of like you normally would, base color, then other colors. But the stippling for this piece was kind of hellish. I don't even know why, because this was just a regular piece of computer paper, but it kept absorbing and absorbing and absorbing all the different Sharpie. And you can see this little area here, right here, it's extra blurry because no matter what, I just kept absorbing that paper or that ink. I don't know where it went. Backside of the paper, edges, the fibers just carried that ink far and away. Even to the point that I made a deal with the person that purchased the original that whenever it starts to fade, he can call me up and I'll drive out to meet him and fix it so that he'll have a nice fresh color there all the time. I tried with a sealer on the back, which seemed to make it happen a lot less frequently, and he hasn't called me yet, so I guess it's still going good. But that was a funny one. So yeah, she was my third dragon in the elemental series, and since, of course, there's 4 elements, and tradition or ancient elements, I had to make sure that there was a wind or air one as well. And this one, I had everything for. I pretty sure this is color pencil. I didn't need to worry about the whiteout. That was just a thing I was beyond at that point. Still did the stippling. What was particularly weird with this one is I wanted to do more like a bird thing with this one. So I guess I ended up making a really weird looking hippogriff. But I wanted to honor my weird alligator propensity for dragon drawing. Like, I live in Florida. I love my alligators. I will fight with you, and they were definitely dragons. I don't care what you say. Alligators are dragons. Especially since they drag their own asses across the ground. But yeah, I wanted to keep the overall alligator shape, but still have the bird thing. So I ended up making this really elongated, weird beak that makes, I don't know if you ever heard a toucan clacking its beak together, but this dragon makes that sound in my head, like all the fucking time, every time I look at it. I don't know, whatever. Again, I'll try to open this up here just to showcase the stippling, particularly with the feathers. Come on. There we go. So you can see that I drew the, into like the shaft of the feathers and then the like texture there. But these dots aren't as random as they look. I definitely tried to follow the lines so that I got this texture, like extra soft texture when you zoom out. So the feathers look a lot more like feathers than if I had not done those dots there. So super proud of that. I think I did dots no, I didn't do dots there. Okay. This was a blended technique there with yellow. I think this part right here is actually highlighter that I went over with the golden Sharpie and then with just red. So, yep. And I think out of all of the dragons, this is the only one I have the original left for. So, if you guys are interested, that is for sale on the Dragonmun website, which is just dragonmun.com. Now, this one is actually almost brand spanking new. This is my newest dragon. I did it for my daughter's birthday this last August, and I put it here with the elemental dragons because she's kind of a pretty water thing. I suppose it's actually a wyvern. I think I pronounced that right. But I ended up calling it a rainbow worm dragacorn or something like that. Anyway, every time I describe it, it changes a little bit. But this one is all watercolor. Come here. Open. So, oh, there we go. Finally. It took forever. Oh, that's scanned in weird. So I have apparently a weird shift with the scan on that one. So I'll have to fix that. Thankfully, because it was a gift from my daughter, I still have the original. But yeah, this is all watercolor. You can tell actually with how blended it is down here at the bottom. Because, to blend watercolors, it's really easy. You just take more water and go over top of it and just kind of mix. Yay! the texture for the scales are literally just like brush strokes. Like, they have the tiniest, it's not quite a single bristle brush, but it's close. And I just went all over the place with that there and over here. I took the pen technique from the scales again. These, actually, I think the dark blue part is pen. And then here was, I went over the pen with the red. Yeah. This part here is what I'm particularly proud of, because this shadow was achieved by going very lightly in, before I even colored, with just graphite. Very, very light graphite. And every time I painted over it, it just got darker and darker and created that really cool glowing effect. So, yep, the pretty dragon, mermaid, unicorn thing that I made for my daughter, because she likes all of that. This one back here is technically part of the Elemental series, because going with the Legend of the Five Rings, Kamigawa, Magic the Gathering, something, I want... where's my mouse? There it is. Open. There's a fifth element that in the Legend of the Five Rings was void, so I wanted to do a space dragon. This one is an early watercolor piece, and I fell in love with the technique to making like space effects. You can see it particularly here. What you do is you to get the space effects, you basically just throw color, like as potent as possible. You throw color as potent as possible onto the paper and then punch it off really fast with a paper towel to absorb it, because if the water just sits on it, it'll damage the paper. So yeah, I wanted my void space dragon here. What's funny about this one is this is its tail, kind of goes up like that, but people have thought that it's a bunny rabbit, it's a baby, this is an egg, and that's a beak. I don't tell anyone no, because all of these ideas crack me up and I love it. But going on the food thing, that's definitely kind of the theme that I've got going on this wall. So, elemental dragon, it hungry. We'll go with the little ornament dragon here next, because it's older. It's an older piece. There we go. This is actually right when I got my first watercolor, like when I got my watercolor set, and this tiny little watercolor sketchbook that goes with it. So I don't know, it was Christmas time, and I was bored I was actually at an art walk when I started this one and finished this one. And I was just like, I want to draw a tiny dragon looking at a bauble. And since the person who was adjacent to me was selling just ornaments, I decided I was going to do a Christmas ornament. Because, I mean, come on. Everybody laid under the Christmas tree and looked up, and it was magical. So that's totally what this little guy's experiencing. Totally going to eat it in about 10 minutes. I mean, come on, it looks like a jawbreaker. Alright. Whereas this little dragon here... Get closer. This little guy... about the same size as the elemental dragons I did on a, light piece of Bristol, about computer paper standard size. This guy took me about 3 years to do. Not because of any technique or difficulties or anything. I just kept losing it. Like, I found him in a clipboard. I found him in my con kit. I found him in the back of a sign I made for a different, either MegaCon or Tampa Bay Comic Con. Like, this thing just would not stay where I could keep working on it. But, yeah. as such, it went through all the different techniques that I use to color. We've got my watercolor, blending, my weird little, this is actually whiteout, went back to that because the whiteout stood out on top of the watercolor. We've got my pen scales, it's his butt. Where else? Yeah, the really, really simple orb coloring. Like, yeah, this thing has gone through all the different phases of my watercolor ability, or my traditional media ability. So yeah, oh yeah, look, stippling back here. Yay. This stippling is Sharpie under watercolor, which is surprising because I thought that watercolor didn't go over Sharpie so well, but it actually held. Like it didn't bleed, and that was great. So, on the subject of food, we've got 3 drunk dragons. So, this one I did actually try to do for a publication. There was a tiny dragon art book that I was invited to illustrate for. Only thing is about 1 million other artists were also invited to illustrate for it. And so it never actually made it in there. Which is what it is. That happens. I finished it. And then in terms of weird originals, the original for this actually ended up getting destroyed in a drink spill, and the whole thing just buckled and fell apart over here. And yeah, so I don't have the original for that, but I did manage to get a very high resolution scan of it, and was able to the very first sale of the thing was for a local pub called the Cloak and Blaster. That's what it's called. So if you guys ever go to the Cloak and Blaster in Orlando, you'll see this actually behind the bar there, which is cool. This picture also did something I'm still in disbelief over. Like, it's the coolest thing. I had it front and center at a tiny little local music event, and this dude just walked into the tent and is like, that looks like Dragon Con in a nutshell. And I was like, yeah, it kind of is. We're all in, fantasy regalia, getting drunk, having the time of our lives, passing out with our friends. That's definitely Dragon Con in a nutshell. Well, turns out, this dude's girlfriend comes in and is like, God, it's so funny. It's definitely, yeah. And then we started talking about Dragon Con and the carpet and how I like to go for the music, particularly I Dragon Con and its bands are why I like going to Dragon Con. And she's like, oh, that's awesome. We perform there. And I was like, oh, cool. That's great. What band are you? And then she says she's, the Crux Shadows. Like, that's her band. And I completely fangirled on her. I feel so bad about it. Because, they're kind of like Dragon Con's headliner, and it's amazing. The band, there's 40 people in it. I tried to describe it to my dad once as the modern Moody Blues, but harder. And he laughed, and they laughed, and everyone laughed. The table laughed. We shot the table. I don't know. But yeah, so they ended up buying this print from me as well. So the Crux Shadows has my art. They also have a copy of the Baba Balu painting that I did. And they gave me one of their necklaces that has the Crux Shadows symbol on it. So I'm super stoked to be able to wear that. Yeah. Anyway, so after we all eat, drink, party, and stuff, we obviously pass out, go to sleep. here we go. We got 2 sleeping dragons. So these guys are digital, but still using my traditional techniques. This one is particularly silly because I wanted a flamingo dragon. At the time, I was going around photographing birds around the state, because this is just this last August. So, and I wanted to see the flamingos. I drove like places to see the flamingos and only succeeded in seeing them super far away. So here we have a flamingo dragon to satiate my need to see flamingos. Yeah, so we've got stippling. And I will admit that I kind of cheated. I made a digital brush that is a stippling brush. It has just a bunch of dots all over the place. But I still had to, like, stipple it, so it was half cheating. And then we've got the pen, scales, just scribbles. Because, like, if you use scales to shade instead of scales for everything, they actually kind of come off looking more realistic than, like, really throwing in that texture everywhere all over. So, but, since it was digital, I got to have extra fun with it and make shiny scales, because you can color your layers individually. Back here, I actually did blend. It's so weird to say that I used a watercolor technique for blending on a digital piece, but I did. I have a brush I got from Groot brushes. It's called Dog Slobber, and it literally is just like, let's make everything wet, and that was kind of awesome. So that's what it did. And then this, it looks like I distorted this up here, but I actually went and drew that. And yeah, whatever. Let's get back to the other guy, the other sleeping dragon. This one is weird, because for all the extra effort that I did to try to make it look traditional, I succeeded in getting an extraordinarily flat background. And I'm not sure how I did that. Because I used some of the same tricks and whatever. I gave up at some point and just went with, like, blending it and putting him a little more close. Like, it's almost more like a nest. Like he's inside a nest. And that's why there's, like, the scribbles here. That's funny because, like, they say watercolor is an unruly medium, and this digital was equally unruly. That was fun. So, yay, sleeping dragons. So, backing up now. This cracks me up. Watch. Hold on. Boom! There it is. Ha! April, I don't have many dragons from you. They're all on your Instagram, so I hope you don't mind. But I'm going to show people your Instagram. So we'll do that by clicking on this, which takes us to April's website, thewhiteelk.art. This is only because of my screen. Sorry, your page is actually really pretty. I was there when she took this. Okay, so we scroll down to, does this click? Nope. Okay. Instagram. Okay. Do I wait for April to come back? Nah. So, alright. She's got all these pretty things, but we're specifically looking for dragons. And here we have them! Dragons! Alright, y'all, look at this. It's so pretty. But she also doesn't do the scales for every little part of everything. And, like, I love that. And you can see how it just enhances the texture, like with where she did draw the details. Like this. I friggin' adore this. So yeah. Oh, I skipped. Doo-doo. And then we've got this one here, which when she did, I was just like, yay! Slender little thin dragons. I like those because I was working on one at the same time. What's funny? It's your dragons. April, this dragon reminds me of your dog, Blue. She's just, it's got her energy. Even the maybe this is supposed to be a calm face. I don't know. It just looks like the sly, I'm gonna get in trouble face. Yeah, and it's Blue. Her dog is so cute, y'all. And then here she, with the shading, just brilliant. April, you're fucking brilliant. I love your graphite. Yay. And then this, I can't do plants like this to save my life. I lose my patience with it. And she whips these out like nothing. Just, ta-da, there they are. What? Just, it's not pretty. Hey. Close up. Excellent shading again. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm not gonna go through all of them because I just noticed the time and we have another topic I want to get to. So goodbye April's Instagram, goodbye April's website. Hello April's skull. That sounded weird out of context. Hi April. All right, so I'll go back to my main area. All right, the elemental dragons, the first 4 that I talked about, I kind of experimented a lot with in terms of like reach and marketing and stuff. And one service I found a while ago, let's get over here. I'm gonna pretend I'm sitting on this couch, okay? Yeah. But I'm really super tall, so we're gonna look down at this table, like, from here. Can I make it? Okay, close enough. Whatever. Ah! There. Now I'm comfortable on my couch. Alright. So, one of the things that I wanted to do... Yeah, here we go. With marketing the dragons is I wanted to protect them. And one of the things that I had found was a service called Ascribe, which I'll bring up here. It's like, hello, welcome to Ascribe. Here's proof that I did. But their site, this is what they advertised, allowed me to register my work and, quote, start telling its story, consign my work to a trusted agent to sell, archive my work, transfer rights and additions to collectors, and share my work with friends and partners. All through Bitcoin's blockchain. Now, if that sounds vaguely familiar, that's because it was NFTs. I signed up for this service that allowed me to create non-fungible tokens. Well, not before Ethereum got started, but like right as Ethereum got started. So the people using technology, using the blockchain technologies hadn't really started developing things for it. And it's so weird to see NFTs taking off again on a different blockchain because, it sort of failed with the Ascribe and Bitcoin. Now, I guess to really get in, before I go and get into all of that, we should all know what a blockchain is. Tying to art, I was introduced to these things. This is called a Ray stone. It's RAI. It is a weird Pacific Island thing made out of like crystallized limestone. And these things were huge, huge and massive. And what they did, they were worth. They decided that these were the end all be all. This was their currency. These were the things of worth. And so, in order to pay dowries, buy houses, buy land, or whatever, they would use these. But these effers were so heavy, there are some that are even bigger than cars. Like, these effers were so heavy that the only way to transfer ownership of them was to have a public gathering where a speaker relayed all the transactions, like the oral transactions of the Raystone, and then amended the new one to the end of that. So that, in a nutshell, that, stating publicly and then adding the new transaction to the statement is what a blockchain is, straight up. I even right here, this is Bitcoin's white paper. Let's see if it lets me open it. Yeah. Can I zoom in? Here we go. So this is the proposal for Bitcoin, which you can actually get off Bitcoin's website. And here it explains that that's basically what they do. They have the digital version of amending transactions to these other public statements. And that's kind of crazy, kind of cool. Only problem is because they're using, and I have a link to this on today's video thing, but the only problem with having those public statements constantly being amended is that it takes up a lot of computing, an insane amount of computing. And that is where, like, if you see environmental concerns regarding NFTs and these, Bitcoin and it's funny because it's almost exclusively NFTs that you hear the environmental concerns with. But the environmental concerns are for the networks themselves, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for that. And, give me my mouse. There we go. I got stuck on my screen. All right, so, but why, right? Like, why make these things? Well, they actually there was a need that needed to be filled. And that need was to have a means of sending money digitally to each other that didn't involve trust or, a third party, and just relying on a third party to go, yes, this is a valid transaction. Because that third party always takes fees. Like, if you have business of any kind, and you've had to take credit cards or PayPal or whatever, yeah, there are fees. Like, whoa. So the whole point was to have a service that circumvented the clearinghouses. And the way that they decided to do that was to have public statements on this gigantic digital ledger. And those public statements basically these, the public statements were verified, by the public or nodes, these computers that are on the service. And it's insane because, like, all the nodes check with all the other nodes to make sure that that particular transaction is indeed the real transaction. So there's no double spending digital coins, and there's no, remitting, or no, what's the word? Canceling that transaction, because the statement, the gigantic digital oral statement is already said. So it's so confusing. Or not, I don't know. But basically, yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, any of these blockchains, it's all the public statements. They're all that ledger. And every computer that ever accesses it, the network at all, sees that. And it's actually a reasonable way of thinking to prevent fraud, I guess. Because, like, keeping up with it, like, anybody who would try to scam the system, they can't keep up with it. And to further incentivize not scamming the system, they made it so that people who dedicate their computers, their time to authenticating these public statements, they get rewarded. They get rewarded with the money, the, ray stones of that network. So, yeah, there we go. That's essentially what a Bitcoin is. Now, that's the money. And that money, like, you don't have to mine to get money on these networks. You can actually invest, or not even invest, it's convert your real money into these fun bucks. That's what I've been calling them forever, like Bitcoin fun bucks, Ethereum or Aether fun bucks. It's all fun bucks. And if you don't know what fun bucks are, you've not visited a theme park in the United States ever. I can tell. Because there's always a section where you can purchase these theme park money certificates, and then you can use those theme park money certificates to run around and buy merchandise in the theme park. It's absolutely useless outside of the theme park, just like Aether is absolutely useless outside of Ethereum, and Bitcoin is absolutely useless outside of Bitcoin. You'd have to convert it back. With the theme parks, they don't let you. So they actually just kind of like get all your excess money, which is annoying. But with, Bitcoin and Ethereum, if you have a digital wallet, that converter program, you actually can convert it back. For shits and giggles, I had invested $1 into each system back in 2014, I think it was. And it was just so I can see what the dollar would do. And when I cashed out, I had $5. So, yay! It did something, I guess. Whatever. But if you took the idea of the fun bucks and converted it at another level down for like each store. So like if you were at the theme park and you converted your, real money into your Bitcoin money or your fun bucks, and then went into a shop and they had another step of that where it was just like, shop money, and you converted your fun bucks into shop money, then you would have tokens. I like to think of them literally as arcade tokens. And most tokens are, like in the networks, are what they call fungible. That means that they have, it's so counterintuitive too, because fungible sounds like it's a flexible word, but it's not. So with fungible tokens, they have a set value. It's whatever that conversion value for that shop was. Or in the case of Ethereum, that digital app. Like Ethereum has apps, and that's kind of cool. There's so much to that. But now, non-fungible tokens are tokens, they'd be like the merchandise you purchased in that shop, pretty much. They have a fluctuating value. That's why they're non-fungible, because they flex. And when it comes to, like, all of these things really still are just chunks of information passed on the public, oral transaction, So these things are just chunks of transactions. But with, an additional value of some sort applied to them for, like, that shop or whatever. One of the coolest NFT things I saw, one of the coolest shops in Ethereum I saw in all this research was actually a identity verification platform for airports. So, like, if you went and converted your Funbucks into this ID shop, you would basically, at the front of it, use that, say, hey, this is me. I here's proof. And then from that point on, you would spend your, like, little tokens on down the line at, real airports to prove that, you're like, hey, I already proved my identity once. Here we go. Bye. And I'm sure you've seen those little kiosks just standing there, by the ticket gates. They are those things that let you bypass security. It's that was, like, one of the cool ways of using these fluctuating value tokens. So yay. What's taken off a lot recently and has been in the news is art NFTs, these fluctuating tokens. All they are, again, is just a chunk of transactions saying, hey, this thing is valued, valuable. And the thing that is valuable happens to be digital art, just an image, not even on it directly, just linked. And so a lot of artists and collectors and musicians, it actually started with musicians, got way in on this. And yeah, so you get to spend your Funbucks on these digital trinkets. That's so hard to explain. But they're, in many ways, like, I can see why people are like, oh, it's just like selling real art or selling an original, because it is an original token on the network. It's got the same amount of value as me saying, you should buy this painting or buy this paper with, water pigment on it. Like, it's an intrinsic value. Which, I don't know. I don't want to do that level of work. I don't want to have to sit there and convert my Funbucks or I don't want to have to convert my real money into Funbucks so that I can spend my money into processing a digital piece of merchandise that I would then have to turn around and try to convince everybody else was worth something. Only for them to spend their Funbucks on it and not really be able to do anything with it at all. Like, why? I don't, that it's beyond me. But they, how to say, there's an artist, if you really look into this, you can't miss the moniker Beeple. Like beep, but people, Beeple. Because he really took this intrinsic value thing to extremes. And I guess that he's what really brought it into the media, which is cool. How to say, this is where we go back to the processing power. Because, like, the sudden attention on these blockchain networks because of these artist NFTs ended up bringing up or bringing out the concerns that these networks have on the environment. Because all of these computers all around the world working so hard 24/7, are using up tons of electricity to process all of that. And because like the environmental concerns were a thing and the NFTs became noticed, there was a lot of oh my gosh, what is the phrase? I can't even think of it. Equivalency, correspondence, like people just automatically associated NFTs with, harming the environment. And it's not wrong, but it's not right either. It's the networks. The networks themselves are the harm to the environment, and these NFTs are just a tiny part of it, really. And that led to a conversation about quote unquote green NFTs, which I also have linked for today's archive. Like if you go back to the video or even to the posts on dragonmund.com, I have the things linked. The green NFT, I couldn't figure out how they would even possibly do, because I've explained the networks, I've explained all the processing, and how everything just constantly goes forward. How would you make that process use electricity or be more environmentally friendly? And the truth is you can't. There's no such thing as a green NFT. There are green quote unquote options for the image that's linked to the NFT. And it cracks me up because when I researched Beeple's green NFT art show, what they ended up doing was they put a packet of art on a single NFT. So you had a bunch of art on one NFT instead of each NFT being an individual piece of art. They also, I guess, did it in vector, which is a smaller file size, so there's less processing power there. But it does nothing to beat back the processing power, behind all those public statements, all of those ledger transactions. So yeah, there's, like I said last week, I was going to research what a green NFT was, and it's nothing. Sad to say. Basically, I'm still just going to do things the traditional way. I can't justify, converting fun bucks into more fun bucks into buy and using that to buy or make merchandise that then I would try to get other people to buy. I'd much rather send you guys something tangible, something you can hold. And I guess I can bring it up to this screen here. I hope all that made any sense. It was... Oh yeah, well, the reason I mentioned a scribe in the first place is, yes, in theory I have artist NFTs. I would have 16 of them, truthfully. But the service, the app, the shop that my NFTs, that my merchandise was in, closed. A scribe is no more. And so they took my, links with them. And while I have, in theory, timestamps somewhere on the Bitcoin network that could be worth money, they're gone. I haven't, and it's, it's gone beyond, it's not even in my control. They're just gone. And I guess with that, I've gone for quite a while. I again, like I said, I hope it makes sense. And I will see you guys next week, where I will probably talk about what my friends are doing. Because I have no plans. All right, catch you later. Bye.